I'm Jon Wensky, Vice Chairperson of the Shrewsbury School Committee. And welcome to School Talk. We've decided to take the show out of the studio and onto the field, literally. We're here at Shrewsbury High School. They're getting ready for a football game tonight. And we want to give you kind of an overview of the benefits of the artificial turf project here at SHS. Back in November of 2016, we started talking about this initiative, and we moved forward with the fundraising efforts. 100% of the cost of this project will be privately funded. And there are a lot of benefits that we've been talking about over the last several months in terms of durability, multi-sport playability, not just football, soccer, but also lacrosse and field hockey can use the field behind me with that artificial turf on the field. It also allows us to play in any weather. So whether it's snowing or raining really hard like it has been the last couple days, they could play on the field without issue and with very low maintenance as well. So on this program today, we'll take a look at the maintenance of a natural grass field behind us and understand the details that go into maintaining a field to get it game ready for not just football but for soccer. In addition to that, we'll take a drive down 290 to our neighbors to the west. Auburn High School has had tremendous success with their artificial turf field, not only at their high school. In 2006, they installed that field at the high school. It was so successful that in 2013, they installed another artificial turf field at their middle school, and they've done really well with that. And then finally, the key to it all is fundraising. We'll talk to the fundraising committee and learn about the efforts that are ongoing. We've been very fortunate so far. We're over halfway to our goal of $1.8 million for this project. So enjoy the next 20 or so minutes, and appreciate you watching today. Thank you. I'm here with Angela Snell. She's the Director of Parks and Recreation for the town of Shrewsbury. Angela,
hello.
Welcome to School Talk. We're outside the studio now, and we decided to come here to Shrewsbury High School at the athletic fields where they're preparing tonight for a football game, as you can see behind us. Angela, we're talking about the artificial turf project for Shrewsbury High School, and we want to talk to you about the maintenance involved with maintaining a natural grass field, sure. Which we know can be challenging at times. So what goes into maintaining a field like this for football games and other sports?
Sure. So the basic maintenance that we do, once a week we're mowing the stadium field.
Sure.
And then, we're doing any weed trimming,
Right.
That's the kind of stuff we do at all the fields.
Right.
This field has irrigation.
Okay.
So in the spring, we're setting the irrigation up. We blow it out in the winter. Sure. Throughout the year, if there's any issues with the irrigation, we might be replacing the heads,
Sure.
things like that. And then we're fertilizing it.
Okay.
This year we did it 3 times.
Yeah.
And then we're overseeding, okay. Aerating, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That takes some time, bringing the tractor out here and
Sure.
doing that.
Sure.
And then because of the way the field is right now, we're actually overseeding it more than that.
Okay.
Anytime it starts to get some bare spots,
Right.
The guys are, throwing some seed at it.
So tell us about, when you come into the new school year in August, how do you get the field ready to be game ready, let's
Sure.
say? Yeah.
So really what we're doing in August is before the games are scheduled, we're actually out here setting up the football field.
Right.
So we're finding the corner bounds.
Okay.
It takes about 4 guys, about 6 hours to mark out the first time.
Sure.
The
Okay.
football field, all the numbers, the hash marks.
Yep.
Then we're doing the same thing for soccer.
Okay.
So we're doing the same thing, finding the corner bounds, marking
Right.
it out. That's probably about 3 hours with 4 guys.
Wow. Okay.
And then obviously painting it, you're stringing lines to get the first setup of the field.
Sure. And that's that's what they're doing now for
now they're retouching it up.
Okay.
The painting, it varies week to week because
Right.
you might have a Monday game
Yep.
for football, then you'll have soccer on a Wednesday,
Sure.
and you'll have a football game Friday night,
Yep.
or one week you might have a football game Friday night and then one on Saturday morning.
Right.
And we have to constantly be looking at the weather.
Absolutely.
Like, you think you're going to line it on Tuesday, but it's going to rain,
right.
so you might have to do both of them on Monday, or
and I would imagine
it varies.
Yeah, the weather must impact your schedule quite a bit. I mean, the last couple of days it was pouring.
Right.
And I think about a day like today. We know that tonight's going to be a great night for football. Right. But if you had that rain, you would have to do a lot more maintenance,
right.
On average.
And then you're dealing with, are we going to cancel the game because of the weather? Because that heavy rain that we had this week,
right.
you would not want to play. If you did, you'd ruin the field for the rest of the season. Yep. And that's the unfortunate thing with the natural grass, is then working with the athletic director, he's rescheduling the game, so we got to reschedule when we're going to paint it.
Sure. Sure, and sometimes, depending on the amount of rain and the night, he might need to look at other options because it's just not a playable surface, not a safe surface either.
Right.
So now we talk a lot about artificial turf having that extended use and really, all season type of playing field. If we were able to even attempt to try that with natural grass, it would require resodding, right? I mean, that would take quite a bit of that.
Yes, and resodding is probably anywhere from $90,000 to $110,000 just to do that, for to have that come in.
Absolutely.
You're regrading it a little bit as well, so that's a big expense to do something like that. The other thing with the natural grass, like in March, I know some of the kids that are playing on artificial fields, they can get out there and practice, where we still have snow on the ground. You got to wait for the fields to be ready before they can start.
Sure.
So that's always a challenge each year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think as we shift over to, in terms of the benefits of artificial turf to not only Shrewsbury High School, to the town, you talk a lot about a lot of time spent preparing this field, as well as just trying to create literally a level playing field to minimize injuries. But from your perspective, what do you see as the benefits of having an artificial turf up here at Shrewsbury High School?
Well, for us, for the Parks Department, I mean, the benefit of not having to line the field multiple times is huge.
Exactly.
Because that's just so time-consuming. There's many other maintenance issues, not only up here, but at other school fields and parks, that our staff would be able to, keep on top of a little better, because we'd have more time that's not spent up here.
Absolutely.
And again, playing early in the season, I know, is a benefit for the town. With the artificial field, we'll be able to see more sports on here, so it'll be nice that you'd have field hockey or lacrosse. We'd have to line it once or twice for the season and be done.
And then it's done.
We don't have to do it every week and juggle the weather. And we will have to groom the field, which I view that as kind of taking the place of mowing it. The grooming is something that is based on the hours of use. So you might not have to do that every week. It might be every other week or every 3 weeks.
Yeah,
so that saves us some time, as well.
Yeah, and we will be talking later in the show to the success that they've had in Auburn, right down 290, and they do say that maintaining the field is the key to longevity. They've had tremendous success there. Their current field on their high school is going on 11 years, and probably looking at another 3 or 4 years of use.
Oh, that's good to hear.
And then also with irrigation, and the water.
The amount of water is, we'll be able to save on the water bill, because this gets watered every day in the summertime.
Definitely.
And especially, we've had a couple summers with the drought, so it takes a lot of water to keep maintaining the field and to have the grass grow. It's hard to reseed it in the summer without the water, so that'll be a big savings.
Yeah, I mean, every time I'm at a game, I was here for the Colonial Way against St. John's. It always looks in tip-top shape, so credit to your team for everything you do here.
Yeah, thank you. My team does a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a tremendous amount of work, but appreciate your time on
thank
School
you.
Talk. Thank you so much. Angela Snell, Director of Parks and Recreations for the town of Shrewsbury. So we're at Auburn High School today on the high school field. I'm here with Joe Fahey, who's the Director of Facilities and Maintenance for Auburn Public Schools. Joe, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Great. No, thank you for joining us today. So we were talking earlier, you mentioned that on the field that we're on today at the high school, it's been here since the high school was built in 2006, so about 11 years you've had use here. Okay.
Yes.
Great. And can you tell us about just the field in general and the type of use that you get on this field?
Sure. the type of use that we have on our field is basically, all I can say is continuous.
Gotcha.
This field does not stop. It gets used during the day, during school hours. It gets used after school for sports. It gets used in the evening for our youth groups, our town youth groups. So this field, it gets continuous use. 7 days a week, rain or shine. That's the nice thing too, is the inclement weather that actually happens in this area. We're able to use this field during a torrential downpour.
Sure. Yeah. So inclement weather is not a factor.
It's not a factor at all.
You're able to use it at any time, and for any of the sports teams too, right? We always think of football, obviously, and soccer, but you have other sports teams that use this as well.
Oh yes, we have football, we have soccer, we have lacrosse that came up. Lacrosse is kind of new to Auburn. I think it's been in Shrewsbury for a while, but you'll notice on our field that these lines here have actually been painted for the sport.
Sure.
So to accommodate them. So it gets continuous use. That's all I can say.
That's great. And then in terms of the maintenance, you're talking about just the upkeep, maintaining the lines, versus natural grass. I'm sure there's probably a lot more involved, kind of maintaining natural grass versus what you're doing now for artificial.
Sure. Obviously, in natural grass, you're limited to the times you can actually use it.
Right.
You're not just is it mowing it once a week, but it's also about keeping it irrigated and actually keeping it fertilized. And being on a school ground, you're limited to what you can actually put into the ground.
Sure.
We're required by the state, called an IPM plan, and you're pretty much have to go organic. So one of the reasons why we chose a synthetic field back in 2006 was because we have a brook right here, right next to us. So we couldn't have any chemicals obviously go into the brook,
Sure.
nor are we allowed to have any chemicals be exposed to students.
Right.
So that was one of the reasons why we did it. And also because of, even though we're on a 21-acre area here, we're limited amount of fields that our youth groups can actually use.
Sure.
So again, we put lights up, and the old saying goes, build it, they will come, and it's truly the case here.
That's great.
It gets continuous use.
Yeah, and in addition to the sports teams, you were saying too that you get use from like gym classes and other groups?
Yes, what we do is we have our gym classes come out here. We have our special education program. They come out here as well. It's a great tool, not only for the sports, but it's for the whole education part of the district.
Great. And as a result of the success that you've had here, certainly 11 years on the field, you also mentioned was it 2013?
2015 we built it in the middle school.
Okay.
And one of the questions that came up is, well, what are we going to do for a field up there?
Right.
So obviously, if the committee didn't feel that this was not success, we wouldn't have opted to go with a synthetic field at our new middle school.
Sure.
So our new middle school is equipped with, again, football, soccer, lacrosse can go up there, and also field hockey. I failed to mention field hockey as well. So both complexes get continuous use.
Great. And then behind us, I think you said too, the fields behind us are also being
yes,
made artificial.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to 2003 and 2004 when we were designing this building. The reason why we opted to go synthetic, a lot had to do it because of the brook, too. And because of the space, like I just mentioned.
Right.
So our baseball field, we opted to go with synthetic, but our base paths are actually dirt. So one of the maintenance problems that we've had is the continuous migration of dirt into the turf,
right,
which becomes a safety hazard.
Sure.
So what would happen is you would actually fail what they call GMAC testing.
Yes.
So in order to keep compliant, we decided to replace the dirt part with synthetic field. So that process is in the process right now, and hope to have it completed in the fall. And in turn, we're going to turn our baseball field in the fall into a soccer field. So it's truly going to take a little bit of relief off of a continuous use field.
Sure.
So what I'm trying to say is it gets continuous use.
Yeah.
I can't say that enough. So much that we had to pretty much think outside the box,
right,
build another soccer field to take some relief off of there.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, we've heard from our own athletic department the challenges of natural grass when it comes to inclement weather, and sometimes they're left having to find alternatives to hold certain games based on the weather. And it seems like in this case, especially with the use that Auburn's you've had success and just continue to offer it to all sports teams and groups. So.
Yeah, it certainly, I think it brings your community together as a whole, because all your groups are down here, everyone is using it, and it's just it's great for the overall community.
Excellent. Well, Joe Fahey, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. We're here at Auburn High School, and we'll go back to the studio. Thanks. The Shrewsbury High School Turf Project will be 100% funded through private donations. Our goal is $1.8 million. And the good news is we've raised $941,000 to date for this project. So we're about halfway there. Joining me today is Michelle Biscotti and Kathleen Cohane from the Turf for Shrewsbury Fundraising Committee. Thank you for joining us today. So tell us a little bit about the community support we've received for this project.
Well, we've had some really strong support initially. We've been fundraising since we got the go-ahead from the school committee since last November. Central One Federal Credit Union stepped in and gave us a $750,000 donation. We've had Shrewsbury Federal Credit Union has given us a $50,000 donation, and there's been a variety of private donors throughout the community who have donated, including Jim and Paula Bonomo, who are also on our committee. Great. We've also had some really strong support from our youth programs, youth lacrosse, football, field hockey, soccer, and also from the teams that are up at the high school as well. So a lot of different organizations, other businesses, other private individuals who really feel strongly that this is something that needs to happen.
Great, that's great news. And in terms of the fundraising efforts, can you give us a little background on what's being done?
Sure. We've done a lot of community outreach, a lot of education, trying to tell people about the need for the project, why it's important to the community, sure. Stress the point that it really is a community project. Right. This isn't something that's just going to benefit the high school. It will really permeate throughout the community once these renovations happen and the field is in place. We want people to understand that it is, as you said, privately funded. Right. The town has set money aside for the track, but the 1.8 really does need to come from private donations and our efforts. And that February 1st is the deadline for having all the donations in so that the field can be in place when school opens in the fall. If we miss the deadline, it doesn't mean the project goes away. It just means it's delayed a year. And that's another important point people need to understand, is that it will just be delayed. But that also means that there's another year of wear and tear on the facilities, which is unfortunate. So we spent a lot of times doing that. We direct people to the website, www.turfforshrewsbury.org. There's a lot of information on there. There are links to our Facebook page, our Twitter page. So we post a lot. Again, just to keep people fresh and updated on the project and keep it at the forefront. Sure. We have our turf table, which travels everywhere and anywhere. We've been at, the Spirit of Shrewsbury. We've been at as many home openers as we can, staff. We've gone to the all-class reunion that was recently held. Yep. We were at the Colonial Way right before the St. John Shrewsbury game. It's a great event. We'll be at Thanksgiving. We'll be at any playoff games. So anywhere and everywhere we can get the word out, we are certainly trying to do that. There will be a mailer sent home. Everyone should start receiving it at the end of the month, informing residents about the project, reminding them of the deadline. And there'll be an article in the school journal coming up, the next edition coming out in November.
Great. So excellent. So if I understand the project, I agree with the project, why should I donate? What are you telling individuals and businesses as to why we should donate to the project?
Sure, that's a great question. So for businesses, what we really want people to understand that this is an opportunity for individuals and businesses to put their name on something and put their name on it in perpetuity. If you're a business, an individual, a family, a team, a group, you can have your name up there pretty much on the donor wall or on a piece of the complex forever. Sure. And there aren't many places that can do that. For businesses, once it's built, we expect this facility to attract over 50,000 visitors a year, which is significant. Right. And those visitors won't just be from Shrewsbury, they'll be from their surrounding communities. We'll be hosting playoff games, more home contests, camps, regional events. A lot of activity goes through there now, and even more will come as a result of this project. Sure. So for a business, that's a lot of visibility. Absolutely. And probably more than you can get through any other event or any other venue in the town. Sure. So we're trying to stress that point. And for individuals, it's really a chance to do something for the community, to be a part of a community effort that really will benefit all of us. Right. And again, in perpetuity, to put your name, your family's name, team, your class, to be a part of something really important for the community. And it won't be built without that level of community support.
Absolutely. And the available donation options out there for this project? What are they? In terms of
there are naming opportunities for different parts of the complex. There are also different donor designation levels that will be represented on a donor wall once the facility is built. And we're going to be announcing the sale of bricks shortly.
Great.
So people should look for information about that.
So everybody can have their name on this project.
Sure.
Too. So it's awesome. I also wanted to mention too that this is a transformational project. This is something that has never happened in our town before. It'll be our first turf field.
Absolutely.
It's an opportunity for us to be able to host events that we can't currently host because of the grass, and the grass takes such abuse at this particular point. And we can open up opportunities to youth programs, other community organizations, and the community will have much better access to the high school fields. And so we're really seeing this as a transformational project, not just for the high school, but it's for our community.
Absolutely. And in addition to donations, we've been talking a lot about that, but how other, what are the other ways that we can promote this this project? How can the community get involved with the turf project?
Well, we would love to have people talk about it with their neighbors. We'd love to have them come and visit. We're welcome to show them around, attend a game, check out the facilities that are up there.
We also would really appreciate people helping us just get the word out. It's outside of Shrewsbury. So if you have friends, alumni, kids that don't live in the area anymore but grew up here, help us spread the word, because there's opportunities for people, even if you're no longer here, to still have your name on the project and to be a part of it.
Get like old classmates together, get your old teams together. If you're going to have a reunion, get your whole class to make a donation, and then make a group donation, because a lot of times those can be a lot bigger. And if you can get a large group together to make a donation, then that particular group's name can be on the donor wall or on a brick or something else like that. So it really, every single donation can count. In some way. Absolutely.
And you mentioned the website, turf_Shrewsbury.org. What are the other ways that people can find out about the project through social media?
Right, so we have a Facebook page, there's a Twitter account, so you can get access to those through the website.
And they're all turf_Shrewsbury.org, turf for Shrewsbury. So turf with the number 4, Shrewsbury.
Gotcha. Exactly. So just wrapping up, if you could leave viewers with 3 points about this project, what would they be?
Sure. I think first of all, the need. This is a project we need. It's not a luxury. It's not a want. It's really something we need. The facilities we have now need to be repaired, but just repairing that field isn't going to do enough. It's not going to increase our playing time. It's not going to give access to more teams. It's not going to accommodate the growth we've seen in this community and the access we want to give even our youth sports. So turf really is the best and only answer. So certainly the need. I would say the fact that it does benefit the whole community. This isn't just a high school project. We really want people to understand it's intended for use by the entire community, and that February 1st is a real deadline. If we don't have the money in hand by then, we'll have to delay the build, and that would be a shame. It really would, to lose an entire season for all those sports, to delay access for the youth groups. And it would be a shame to just have to possibly put money into repairing and patching things, only to eventually replace them. Right.
I mean, I think that's what we heard early on the show. Efficiencies through maintenance is huge. And also, when we went to Auburn High School, they're on year 11 of using that turf field, and they've had such great success with that. That they also installed one over the middle school. So there's a lot of great success stories out there across central Massachusetts, and our kids today are playing on those fields when they're competing in sports.
And more of our competitors are actually installing them, and so we're seeing that they have access to turf fields as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both for your time today. Good luck with the fundraising efforts. Again, turf_Shrewsbury.org, turf_4 Shrewsbury.org. That'll do it for this edition of School Talk. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.